what would be your advice to them? Like how, when you're faced with setbacks, big challenges, even at the highest level, how do you address those challenges, and what's your advice to someone going through the storm right now?
Take a deep look. Get out a piece of paper. I like these sketchbooks, and a big paper. Get a nice pen or whatever, and write down everything that's on your mind. What's bothering you? So and so didn't get me the invoice. Whatever. Just write down stuff on the left side, and on the right side, do a little bit of vision boarding. A little bit. Do like, depending on how big the storm is. If like in a real storm, the clarity when you're driving is far, so you've got to look a little closer. So you look 3 months from now, what would be cool? Well, I wish it'd be cool if I wasn't working 16 hours a day, 8 days a week. Like insane, right? And so like that would be step one. Step two, I'd like to get a little more sleep. And so like wherever you got to find that, do a little bit of vision boarding, and then get really authentic and true with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror or not, and just talk to yourself and say, what am I doing here? And be willing to give up on things. Like it's counterintuitive. So it's like, don't ever give up, but also know when to give up. Don't give up on your dream of being that person that you deserve and you are here to be. But the path it's really not up to you. It's like the chess game. If someone moves one piece, another 50 million variations, just boom, permutations right there. That's life. That's life. But I would say if you're in a storm right now, take a look at it. What's bothering you? My business partner sucks. We're not making enough profit. This isn't enough to help pay my bills. Okay, now we know that. Write it all down. What would it look like in 6 months if things change? Well, then, I would get rid of my business partner. I would add one more product, kind of write those things down. And then get really true to yourself and say, maybe I need to sell this business. Maybe it's reached its shelf life. Maybe I'm not just looking at shiny objects and grass is greener. I really believe that I can do something else. If it's paying your bills, then you're going to have to moonlight, and you're going to have to do both until you have the risk enough, to jump over. But that's kind of contrary, because most people will say, don't give up, etc. And I say that too. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your journey. Don't give up on what is in front of you. No. But be willing to go a different route. And sometimes I meet young entrepreneurs and they go, this is going to be my billion-dollar company. It could be. But I've had like 25 companies before I even started this one 8 years ago. So it's like, and now I've got another 25. Like it's just, it doesn't matter. Ultimately it doesn't matter. So I would say, have that conversation, be willing to pivot, be willing to sell the business, be willing to move things around. Ultimately, you got to take care of yourself, because you're racing a marathon. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to fall to the floor in exhaustion. So be willing to have that tough conversation with yourself, your wife, your husband, your friend, your cousin, and say, hey, you know what? I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not giving up just yet, but what if I sold this thing, took 20 grand off the table, used 5 of that to start something that I really know is going to have longer legs. I'm going to be able to get that passion back. Otherwise, so once you have that conversation, you go, I can't do that. Well, then you've got to do what I do in some of these businesses. When you make $0, take $0 off the table in a brand like Snow, you have to fall in love with your business like every few weeks. And you have to find something, a challenge, in my case, like finding a new challenge, a new Rubik's Cube to unlock. That's exciting to me, right? So retail, wow, I've never done that before. What if we were in Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, and Saks, which we are today? That'd be interesting as an oral care brand. So that challenge woke me up in the morning. Just like when I was a kid and I got a new video game, I'd wake up at 5 a.m. to play it. It's all I could think about, dream about, and get up. Not every day is gonna be like that, because most things in business kind of suck in terms of what you have to go through. It's not easy at all. But you gotta fall in love with the hard work. Decide if you're gonna sell this thing, stop doing it potentially if you can't sell it. Say, what if I just stop doing it? Because I only got 24 hours in a day, opportunity cost, maybe I could do something else. Or maybe make a plan. Like with me on the agency side, I didn't know that I was gonna go into brand building and now investing in all these different areas, real estate and all. I didn't know that, but I could see that there was potentially a shelf life on, I wanted to take that to the next level. And so I started prepping, and it wasn't overnight, but I knew that I was not enjoying what I was doing as much as I was enjoying my moonlight time. And I could see my team members weren't enjoying it as much either. They wanted to work on the side projects that we were building. I said, okay, well, we've got 6 months, 12 months, however long it takes. We've got to replace the net profit we're making per month from the agency. We've got to, not replace, but we've got to mirror that, or at least show the growth. Then I could sell this thing, and then we can move on over to this side of things. So sometimes you have to do that. But if you have a plan, it's a lot better. If you know, okay, 6 months from now, I know I'm going to get to that place. Clarity then comes through progress. And so then you got to get to work and just get one thing done, then the next thing done. But the problem is that people around you, if they love you, they're not going to want you to quit because they believe in you, and they don't want that for you. And sometimes that's bad, because then you end up doing something that you run a business that's never going to make more than $200,000 a year, and you spend 10 years doing that. Still a great success, you can make $200,000 a year, but what if you did something else? Like, you're never going to get that time back. So you got to have that discussion with yourself. And the world's in a weird place right now. We're in a recession, we're not in a recession. I can tell you things are really expensive now, and it's kind of crazy. And people have this angst inside of them. And so I think it's a beautiful time. It's the creative destruction. It's a transformative time. And that's not to play light. I mean, I grew up in those situations, so I know how difficult it is to worry about what am I going to eat next? Where am I going to live next? Not downplaying that at all, but just kind of tell yourself. I wish I could go back and tell myself that everything is going to be okay. Everything that I want and I'm looking for, I'm going to get, and just kind of focus. And I did spend a lot of time on businesses that I probably shouldn't have, but I wouldn't have any other way. I'm here today, and I think that was part of the journey. So look at it that way. Zoom out a little bit, take a little breather, and be willing to part with something that maybe isn't giving you that energy, and really think through it, because it's not a shiny object syndrome is a real thing. So something new is always going to look better than something that's difficult at the moment, because our nature is to, if something's uncomfortable, change it. Like, it's risk. Like, we naturally are that way as animals. Like, that's what we're doing. So what happens is that we start to, and the smarter you are, the more you can visualize your failure just as much as your success. And once you start to visualize your failure, that sticks a little bit more, because we are fear-based, reactionary mammals. So, like, we're going to stick to the fear more than we are to the success.
Almost like an overthinker.
An overthinker, for sure. You're going to think of 50 ways you're going to fail. There's 50 ways I could die right now. Like, we can sit here and talk to them, but what use is that? You know, give yourself a little bit of a pity party, and then say, all right, 20 minutes, I'm going to cry, and I'm going to be mad and sad, and then 20 minutes, I'm going to be happy, and start writing stuff down and start to move that. Because if you're in a state of depression or a state of stagnancy and you're burnt out because things haven't changed, and just know that even recessions only last 1 to 4 years. And most of them are 1 to 2. So it's a season, and this is the season that you're in, and decide, is this the championship you want to win, or is just this Michael Jordan playing golf? So you got to figure out what aspect of that is there to you. And I can tell you, it takes the same amount of time to build a $100 million business than it does to build a $1 million business, or a $10 million business, let's say. It can, right? At 5 years, let's say, and someone at 5 years will hit the 1 million mark, and someone could hit 100 million. Timing has a lot to do with things. So if you have a business that's outdated and it's going down, figure out a way to sell it. But look at your time. You're a character in the game. How can I upgrade my character? Put some armor. What do I need to do for my character? What do I need to read? And then go back in and say, all right, this is my plan. And maybe it'll change 20 times by the time 6 months comes up, but at least you have something.